Good day, BSE1G. We are the reporters for today's topic, and the topic that we're going to discuss this day is the 1935 Philippine Constitution. So, before we start the presentation, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Kurt Navales Nacario, together with my group mates, Ms. Hannah Liagas and Mr. Rocky Bisanya. So, do you know Manuel Alcazar? Manuel Alcazar was also known by his initial MLQ, a prominent Filipino statesman and leader during the time of 1935 Constitution. He served as the President of Commonwealth of the Philippines from 1935 until his death in 1944. Quezon played a crucial role in advocating for Filipino independence from American colonial rule. So during his time, Manuel Alcazar is advocating na talaga the independence for Filipino people under the American colonial rule. So we come now to the 1935 Philippine Constitution. 1935 Constitution was a constitution not only for the Philippine Commonwealth but also for the future of the Republic Act of the Philippines. So the 1935 Philippine Constitution was the second constitution of the Philippines and served as the fundamental law of the country during Commonwealth era. And the next one is Tidings-McDuffie Act. Tidings-McDuffie Act is an act of Congress that established the process for the Philippines, then an American territory, to become an independent country after a 10-year transition period. So when we say Tidings-McDuffie Act, it was also known as the Philippine Independence Act, was a United States federal law passed on March 24, 1934 and became effective on July 4, 1935. Salient features of the 1935 Constitution. The government was divided into three co-equal branches. The first one is executive, the second one is legislative, and the last one is judicial. So when we say executive, the function of executive branch is responsible for interpreting and enforcing the law of the land. Who are under the executive branch? The cabinet and all the executive department led by the president. The second one is legislative. The function of legislative branch is responsible for making and passing law. Who are under the legislative branch? The Senate of the Philippines and the House of Representatives. The last one is judicial. The last which is judicial branch is responsible for interpreting and upholding law of the Philippines. Who are under the judiciary branch? The Supreme Court and the lower court. The 1935 Philippine Constitution Preamble. The Filipino people, imploring the aid of divine providence in order to establish a government that shall embody their ideals, conserve and develop the patrimony of the nation, promote the general welfare, and secure to themselves and their posterity the blessing of independence under a regime of justice, liberty, and democracy, do ordain and promulgate this Constitution. So in the 1935 Philippine Constitution Preamble reflects the aspiration of the Filipino people for a just, democratic, and humane society that value fundamental principles and seeks to secure the blessing of independence, equality, and peace for all citizens. The 1935 Philippine Constitution National Territory. The Philippines comprises all the territories ceded to the United States by the Treaty of Paris concluded between the United States and Spain on the 10th day of December, 1898, the limits of which are set forth in Article 3 of Solid Treaty, together with all island embraced in the treaty concluded at Washington between the United States and Spain on the 7th day of November, 1900, and in the treaty concluded between the United States and Great Britain on the 2nd day of January, 1930, and all territory over which the present government of the Philippine Island exercises jurisdiction. So in the National Territory of 1935 Philippine Constitution, Article 1, the National Territory, Section 1, defined that national territory of the country as comprising the Philippines archipelago, including all the island and water within its boundaries. This constitution laid the foundation for country's territorial boundaries and sovereignty, emphasizing its status as a distinct and independent nation.
Hello everyone, I'm Hannah Siliagas, one of the presenter of the 1935 Constitution. So let us now continue our discussion. State principles. The 1935 Constitution has the following state principles. Number 1. The Philippines as Republican state. Sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. It means that the country is a place where the people have a say in how things are run through elected representatives. Number 2. Defense of the state as prime duty of the government. The defense of the state is a prime duty of government, and in the fulfillment of this duty, all citizens may be required by law to render personal military or civil service. The government's main job is to keep the country safe and secure for its people. Number 3. Renunciation of war. The Philippines renounces war as an instrument of national policy and adopts the generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the nation. The Constitution says that the country won't use war to solve problems and prefers peaceful solutions. Number 4. Natural right and due of parents and rearing of the youth. The natural right and duty of the parents in rearing the youth for civic efficiency should receive the aid and support of the government. It recognizes that parents have a natural right and duty to take care of and teach their children. Number 5. Promotion of social justice. The promotion of social justice to ensure the well-being and economic security of all the people should be the concern of the state, and it encourages treating everyone fairly and making sure everyone has a fair chance in society. Who are the citizens of the Philippines? Article 4 of the 1935 Constitution provides that the following are citizens of the Philippines. These are the people who are citizens of the Philippine Islands at the time of the adoption of this Constitution. Those born in the Philippine Islands of foreign parents who before the adoption of this Constitution had been elected to public office in the Philippine Islands. Those whose fathers are citizens of the Philippines. Those whose mothers are citizens of the Philippines and upon reaching the age of majority elect Philippine citizenship, and those who are naturalized in accordance with the law. So, rights guaranteed by 1935 Constitution. Number 1. Right to life, liberty, and property. In this right, everyone has the basic rights to live, be free, and own things. Number 2. Right to due process of the law. In this right, people have the right to fair treatment and proper legal procedures. 3. Right to equal protection of the laws. All citizens should be treated fairly and equally by the law. Number 4. Rights against unreasonable searches and seizures. In this right, people are protected from unfair searches or taking their things without a good reason. Number 5. Liberty of abode. You can choose where you want to live without unnecessary restrictions. 6. Privacy of communication and correspondence. In this right, your private messages and letters are protected from unauthorized access. Number 7. Right to form association or societies. You can join or create groups without unfair interference. Number 8. Freedom of religion. Sa karapatang ito, you can practice your chosen religion without being treated unfairly. Number 9. Freedom of speech. In this right, you can express your thoughts without fear of censorship or punishment. Number 10. Freedom of the press. The media can report news freely without unnecessary restrictions. 11. Right to assembly and petition. In this right, you can peacefully gather and voice your concerns to the government. 12. Non-inferment of obligation of contracts. Contracts you make should be respected and not changed unfairly. 13. Non-imprisonment for debt or non-payment of full tax. Hindi ka pwedeng makulong dahil lang may utang ka or hindi ka nakapagbayad ng tax. Number 14. Right against involuntary servitude. In this right, you can be forced to work against your will. 15. privilege of the writ of habeas corpus. And this right, you have the right to challenge your detention if you think it's not lawful. 16. Right to bail. Unless the crime is very serious, you have the right to pay money to be released during legal proceedings. 17. Rights of a person under criminal prosecution. A. Right to presumption of innocence. You are considered innocent until proven guilty. B. Right to be heard by oneself on counsel. You have the right to have a lawyer speak for you. C. Right to be informed of the nature and cause of accusations. Accusations must be clearly explained to you. D. Right to speedy and public trial. Legal proceedings should be quick and open. E. Right to meet the witnesses face to face. You can confront those who testify against you. F. Right to have compulsory process to secure witness attendance. You can make sure your witness testify on your behalf. 18. Right against self-incrimination. You can't be forced to admit you did something wrong. 19. Right against excessive fines. Fines should not be unreasonably high. 20. Rights against cruel and unusual punishment. In this right, you are protected from very harsh or inhumane punishment. 21. Rights against double jeopardy. You can't be tried or punished for the same crime twice. 22. Free access to courts. You have the right to go to court to seek legal help and justice. So, suffrage. So, what is suffrage? Suffrage refers to the right to vote. In the Philippines, many citizens who are at least 21 years old, able to read and write, and have lived in the country for 1 year, including 6 months in the specific municipality, can exercise this right. Additionally, there is a provision for extending voting rights to women. A plebiscite will be held within 2 years of adopting the Constitution, and if at least 300,000 qualified women vote in favor, women will also gain the right to vote.
Good day everyone, I am Rocky Bisenyo and we're going to discuss about the power of the three branches of the government under 1935 Constitution. Kanina sa report ni Court ay nabanggit niya na yung three branches of the government, which is legislative, executive, and judicial. But now, we're going to tackle about the power, how it works, and what's the use of it. We have legislative power. In legislative power, they have the power of taxation, power to declare war, confirmation power, and power to override veto of the president. The next one is executive power. In executive power naman, they have the control power, military power, power of appointment, veto power, pardoning power, and diplomatic power, treaty-making power. And the last one is judicial power. They have the power to apply laws, power to determine the constitutionality or treaty of law. Amendments to the constitutions. Article 15, Section 1. The Congress in joint session assembled, by a vote of 3/4 of all the members of the Senate and of the House of Representatives voting separately, may propose amendments to this Constitution or call a convention for that purpose. Such amendments shall be valid as part of this Constitution when approved by a majority of the votes cast at an election at which the amendments are submitted to the people for their ratification.